I'm Gauri, Department of Economics from Vilamadi Junior College for Girls. This is the second class for the Keynesian theory of income and employment. We have discussed the Keynesian theory and public finance in the first class, and now we are discussing what is public expenditure and public debt in this class. What exactly is the public expenditure? The expenditure that is incurred by the government on various economic activities. As the economic activities are increasing, the government expenditure is also increasing. So the government spends money for the common welfare of us, and that is the public expenditure. Let us see on what different economic activities or heads they spend money. They spend for the defense, internal security, law and order. This is a major expenditure of the government that they take care of our security. And recently we have seen how much the government must have spent in the recent war that we had it. So when we talk about they spend on defense, they spend on internal security and to maintain the law and order. The government spends money on public services, the services that are rendered to the public to promote the welfare, to take care of the needs of the people and also welfare schemes. The government at the center, the government at the state do spend money on providing the welfare schemes, especially to the women, especially to the poor people, unemployed people and many other categories or segments of the people. The next one we have is the government major expenditure is on economic services. These are the different sectors of our economy without which the economic development is not possible. They spend on agriculture for the development of agriculture. It is agriculture which takes care of the food requirements of the complete population. So thereby the government spends money on the development of the agriculture sector so that they support the complete food requirements of the complete population. Industrial development, without which the economy cannot function. Industries development plays a very important role either for the contribution of employment or for the contribution of national income. So the government also spends money for the development of the industries. Likewise, the different sectors of the tertiary sector, they do spend like power, transport, communications, science and technology. Development of science and technology is a need of an hour today. That is very, very important today, and without which we cannot improvise on the quality of the production, on the technology of the technological development. So science and technology is very important aspect of the present day. The quality of the people is only improved by the providing services, social services. When we talk about social infrastructure, which improvises the quality of the population, and that is providing the education. The government spends a lot of money on providing free and compulsory education to all the people below the age of 14 years. And for that, various schemes have been come up where they try to create literacy rate, increase the literacy rate in our economy. Likewise, health. Education, health plays a very important role, and that is nothing but human resources which improves the quality of the economy and also quality of human resources. What are the other services that the government spends? The government spends on other general services, organs of states, tax collection, external affairs. There are many other services on organs of the state. The government have to spend money on proper functioning of the state and the other levels at the different levels of the regions of the state. Likewise, with the tax collection and external affairs, our country having relations with the other countries. There are other measures what the government provides pensions with. This is for the people who have rendered their services, and after their retirement, it is the government who takes care of them by providing the pensions and different kind of subsidies. Subsidies are certain benefits what the government provides, certain schemes, certain provisions what the government provides for the development of that particular sector or that particular area or that particular region. So subsidies are again a major expenditure of the government. There are different grants which are given to the state government, grants to the foreign governments. In last class, we have already explained that what exactly is a grant. Grant is a payment which is in condition, there is no condition to repayment for that. And any kind of emergency. Just give an example of the recent when we had the Kerala floods. The government provides a grant to the particular state. And this particular situation of the COVID-19, the government is providing the grants to the state government, likewise grants to the foreign governments. The next one is loans to the state government. If any particular state is incurring heavy expenditure than the incomes or the revenues of the particular state, the central government supports them in providing the loans to the state government and also to the public enterprises. Because public enterprises provide maximum revenue to the government, that is called as commercial revenue. And in case of any, either for expansion, either for development of their production, they provide the loans to the public enterprises. The next one is loans to the foreign government. The government also provides loans to the other countries, which is give and take policy. The next one is in case if the government is taking some loans, we have to pay the interest amount along with the principal amount. That is again an expenditure of our government. The next one is assistance to state on natural calamities. Any state, for example, as I was giving an example of the Kerala, any state which has, witnessing has a major problem of the natural calamities, the government also stands as to supports or stands as a financial support to provide assistance to that particular state. The next is there are many other unplanned expenditure. COVID is again one of the major expenditure what the government has incurring, which is not at all planned. So the government incurs expenditure on such situation, unforeseen contingencies, what we consider. The next one is without infrastructural development, there is no economic development, industrial development, technological development. All this happens because of infrastructural development. And today we are witnessing so much of development in our economy, that is roads, buildings, transportation, power, communications. All this comes under the infrastructural development. So we say there are certain major heads where the government spends money. Let us have a quick view of the various pictures what they spend. They spend on defense, they spend on law order, they spend on internal security, they spend on infrastructural development and public services. They spend on the welfare schemes. The complete picture shows what are the different welfare schemes the government has taken up for the girl child, for the poor people, for the development of the economy, for the Swachh Bharat is one recent example that what we are seeing is the government spending so much money on educating, bringing an awareness to protect our environment. Next is Smart City, Digital India. These are different programs what the government has started. The government again spends on social services, health education, public services. These are the different expenditures of the government like agriculture, industries, communications, transport, science and technology, which are considered as economic services. So the complete answer, you can get it for 2 marks or you can get it for 5 marks. You need to write all the different heads where the government spends the money. The next topic we have is public debt. What exactly is the public debt? Any time when the expenditures are more than the revenue or when expenditure exceeds the revenue, then any organization or institution or at a personal level, we incur in debts. So that is something which is a major thing that we have to understand. So public debt, it is created when the government expenditure exceeds its revenue, and that is just because of as the activities of the economy or the activities of the economic activities are increasing, The requirements of the society is increasing, the expenditures of the government is increasing. And if at the same time, if they're not receiving the revenues to the same extent, they incur in the debts. There are two different types of debts. One is internal debt, another one is external debt. What is internal debt? The internal loan is transfer of wealth within the country from public, from financial institutions, from the government. When it is raised, then we call it to be the internal debt. So the debt raised from institutions within the country or inside the country, which could be banks, which could be individuals, business firm, treasury bills, all this considered to be the internal debt. Now, when the second part of the debt is external, so when the government borrows from the outside the country, from sources outside the country, that is called as external debt. It could be international financial institutions or World Bank, International Monetary Fund, IMF, funding agencies. All these are called as the external debt. The next one is, how do we clear this? How do the government clear them? So the next topic, the subtopic for the public debt is redemption of public debt. Redemption is clearing of the public debt. So here, repayment of debt by the government is called redemption of public debt. So what policies they follow to clear off the debt? So these are some of the policies what the government follows to clear off the debt, which is very, very important. The first one is surplus budget, refunding, annuities, sinking fund, conversion, additional taxation, capital levy, and surplus in balance of trade. Let me talk with the first one, surplus budget. This is one of the most important way of clearing the money, their debts. Here, the government tries to, what is budget? The budget is nothing but an official record of the finances, revenue and the expenditures. So try to create a budget. The government will try to create a budget where revenues exceeds the expenditures. When revenues are more, expenditures are less, then we call it to be surplus budget. If this kind of budget, if we are able to create, then some part of that can be used to clear off the debts. The next one is refunding. Refunding is the government will sell bonds and security in the market, and whatever money they get by selling these bonds and security, and definitely we would like to invest our money in such shares which is bonds from the government side, because there is no risk and high security. So the whatever money the government receives by selling the bonds and securities is used to clear off the debts. The next one is annuities. If something cannot be paid at one go, so let us pay at easy terms or easy installments or per annum. They try to clear the debts. So that becomes very easy, which we also do at personal level. Annuities is something the government tries to pay every year some part of the money, and thus they clear the debts. The next one is sinking fund. The way we have the reserves, the government also have certain They create a fund and they deposit some returns, whatever returns they get, whatever profits the government gets, that amount, that fund is deposited in this particular sinking fund, and whenever it is required, it is used for clearing of the debts. The next one is conversion. Now, in this particular one, the old debt is converted to a new debt. For example, suppose I have taken some money, or the government has taken some money which carries a high rate of interest. So convert that particular debt into a new debt which carries a low rate of interest. So this becomes, by conversion, the interest burden reduces and you can clear off the debt easily, and that can be done very easily. The next one is, if nothing is there, the government can impose with different and additional taxes. What we have seen recently, different taxes the government imposes so that they can raise the revenue, because expenditures of the government are increasing, and that goes with increase in economic activities. The next one is capital levy. This is one-time payment by the industrial units. One time. And this is very important both for the government as well as for the industry. The industry can pay one-time interest, and that comes at reasonable, it is more profitable for the industry, and the government is also getting lump sum amount at one go, which can be used to clear off the debt. The next one is surplus in balance of trade. Try to create more of exports and less of imports. This is again, what we are getting should be more. What we are receiving from our exports should be more than what we are paying to our imports. And this surplus can also be used to clear off the debt. So here, public debt is a 2 marks and a 5 marks question. And if it is coming for 2 marks, you just have to write what exactly is the debt. That is the definition, internal and external. And in case, write all the various methods of redemption, the 5 points. And if it is for 5 marks, you have to explain the whole thing. That is surplus budget, refunding annuity, sinking funds, conversion, additional taxation, capital levy, and surplus in balance of trade. So this is a very important from the examination point of view. The next one is center-state financial relations. The center-state financial relations is very given. A very detailed scheme is given in our constitution. So the constitution provides a very clear picture to what extent the distribution of the resources between the center and the state. Now over here, there are certain exclusive powers of the central government, exclusive powers of the state government, other miscellaneous powers. Let us see what taxes come under the union government, what taxes comes under the state government. Because the state government as well as the central government needs revenue to carry on the activities. So that is the one reason this is very clearly defined, very clearly given in our constitution. The union government has exclusive power to levy taxes, that is, impose the taxes, and the taxes that the union government can impose are customs duty, corporate tax, capital gains, surcharge on income tax, and railway fares. This is exclusively under the government. The next one is exclusive powers of the state government. We have land revenue, that is the major revenue what the state government gets, stamp duty, estate duty, entry tax, sales tax, taxes on vehicles and luxuries. We just have to remember the taxes that are levied by the center, that are levied by the state, and that is appropriated within the state or distributed among the state and the center. So the towards here we have exclusive powers of the union government, what taxes are there and what these are the taxes which can be used by the central government, and these are the taxes which can be used by the state government. The next one we have is residuary powers of taxation. This in case the subjects which have not been included either in the union or either in the state, then those taxes are only by the union government that belongs to the center. The other three categories of taxes we have to be very, very clear. Who imposes and how it is being appropriated. So the first one is the taxes levied by the union. That is, the union government imposes the taxes, but this is collected and appropriated, distributed according to the needs of the different sectors, appropriated by the state, and such taxes which are imposed by the union government and appropriated by the state are stamp duties on bills of exchange, excise duties on medicine and toilet preparations. The next one is, the second category comes under, there are certain duties that are levied and collected by your union, but the net proceeds of such taxes are distributed among the states. Now, these taxes which are imposed by the center, collected by the center, but the proceeds of the taxes are given to the state. And what are those? They are succession duty, estate duty on property, other than agriculture. We need to be more clear about that. Estate duty on property other than the agricultural land, taxes on railway fares, and freight taxes on newspaper sales and advertisements. The third category comes under, there are certain taxes that are levied and collected by the unions, but over here, the proceeds are distributed between the center and the state. And these are the taxes on non-agriculture income, excise duties on items, except those two what I mentioned earlier, except medical and toilet preparations, which are already included in the previous category. The other things, miscellaneous powers. According to the 73rd and 74th Amendment of the Constitution, they have made a consolidated fund of the state, from which the resources, the state also have to allocate some funds to their, the panchayat levels and the other municipalities. So this consolidated fund of the state, from which the resources can be diverted to the village panchayats and the municipalities. The next one is, according to Article 360, you need to remember what amendments and what articles. According to Article 360, during the proclamation of any kind of financial emergency, the President can give the financial directives to the state, that is central government loans or grants in aid to the state. And that is in case of any financial emergency under the Article 360 of the Constitution. According to Article 275, the Constitution provides grants in aid to some states for the promotion of welfare of the tribal people. This is only for certain states where they have to take care of promoting the welfare of the tribal people. And the state also receives, any state receives the grants in aid in case of any natural calamities like floods or drought. Any natural calamity, the state also receives the grant in aid from the center. So these are the different center-state financial relations. The next one we have is Finance Commission. So you have to make a list of what expenditures the government incurs. With the help of the pictures, it is very clear where all the government are spending money. That is for the common welfare, and the government's expenditure is for the welfare, is for the benefit, is for to all of us, to the complete citizens of the country. And over here, services. So you can make the list of the expenditures what the government spends, which is very, very important for 5 marks and 2 marks. The debt, you have to define yourself, ask yourself what is public debt, then see what are the different types of debt. We have internal debt and external debt. Then what is internal debt within the country, external debt outside the country? Just keep asking questions for yourself and then you'll be able to get it. And what is redemption? Redemption is clearing of the debt, paying off the debt. How does the government pay up? Try to remember. And most important is you need to write the terms as it is. You cannot make your own terms. The terms need to be written in the same manner. Explanation according to the terms you have to do. What does the Constitution provide the center state? You have to remember the taxes that comes under the exclusive powers of the union government, the taxes that comes under the exclusive powers of the state government, and you have to mention them. You have to remember them. At least 1 or 2 taxes, if you remember, you can write it over there. What taxes that are exclusive powers of union or the state? What are the residuary powers of taxation? And the 3 major categories of the taxation. That is, what taxes are imposed by the center, collected by the center, and appropriated to the state. What are, again, there are certain taxes which are levied by the center but collected by the state. There are certain taxes which are imposed and collected by the center but the proceeds are with the state. So you have to make it very, very clear what are these taxes, each category, what are the taxes that are being included. And what amendments have made with regard to the consolidated fund, a fund, how it can be provided to the state, providing it to the village panchayats and municipalities. And what is Article 360 in case of any emergency? Article 275, you have to remember this because that will highlight, you just highlight this and you will be getting the best of your marks.